Hey everybody, this is Mike Doretto with Infinite Man Academy and SashaPua.com here today to talk to you, to give you a little tip about how to have a more effective date. And by that, I mean not a date where you go, you banter, you feel like you have no connection, nothing gets done, things never go anywhere, basically a bad date. How to take that situation and turn it into something that's at least effective. Effective in what? Effective in telling you whether or not you should have a second date, whether or not you should continue, whether or not there's even anything to look forward to at the end of this date. So how do we go about doing that? Well, first we want to think about all of the things that might scare a woman off. All of the deal breakers, all of the distasteful things about ourselves. Now, I'm not talking about deep, dark secrets like getting abused when you were a child or something like that. You can save that for later dates. But if there is something that someone's going to run into very quickly, like say, for example, you're a workaholic or you have a passion that you commit a ton of time to and it's just not possible for you to see this person as frequently as, say, a quote-unquote normal person might, whatever your definition of normal might be. In that case, you're going to want to tell the person that sort of thing right up front. Hey, I'm a workaholic. Hey, I have a limited amount of time. If you're looking for a non-traditional relationship, you're looking for a casual relationship or non-monogamy or, or any sort of variation on that kind of thing has to come out first date. Now, I say to tell people things in the first hour of the first date. When people ask, when do I do this stuff? I say as soon as possible. Now, it shouldn't be so abrupt. Like I wouldn't say, oh, how you doing? Welcome, come in, sit down. Okay, by the way, I'm non-monogamous and you have to deal with that.
And you are Gina?
Gina. Hey, what's up?
Nothing.
Look, I'm gonna be real honest with you. It's been a long time since I've been with a man. Spent a lot of time with the ladies. Looking to get back up on that pogo stick, you know what I'm saying?
Excuse me?
You're a good-looking man.
Thank you.
Very pretty. Real soft, delicate features. They're real feminine, which is good for me because that would be a simple sort of transition, you know what I'm saying? Maybe throw a little rouge on ya. Tuck your sack back. You game?
No.
Right? That's not what I'm saying. Sit them down, we always want to start with banter. We always want to ease in a little bit. Oh, traffic getting here, weather, blah, 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 just simple stuff. Just as they're called, the formalities. It just lets people know that you're a normal person, that, things are safe and comfortable. It's giving people what they expect to happen at the outset of the relationship, or of the conversation, of the date. But we don't have to stay there too long. In fact, if we do, that's one main reason why people have bad dates. They keep it at the banter level, they keep it at the rapport level, and they never get much deeper than that. So that will be a date where at the end of it, you're gonna say, I liked her, but there didn't seem to be a lot of connection. And that's usually because we kept it too surface level. So after about 15, 20 minutes of just relaxing, maybe you've ordered your first round of drinks or something like that, you're settled in. Now we can start, going a little bit deeper. And this is where we're gonna start revealing the things about ourselves that basically we're gonna try to scare her away. And you guys might be thinking like, well, that's counterintuitive or counterproductive. It's really not, because our goal here is to make sure that we're with the most compatible person that we can be with, at least for our given purposes. Of course, that level of compatibility increases if we're looking for a relationship and decreases if we're looking for, say, just a one-night stand. But there still needs to be a certain level of compatibility before we decide to move forward with an interaction. If there's not, if you're forcing the situation, if she's, if you don't totally have your mind made up about her, she doesn't have her mind made up about you, rushing into something like sex or the next phase of the relationship is only going to cause drama and problems down the line. So it's better to really thoroughly vet the person out and figure out if you guys really are on the same page, if you really are compatible, before taking whatever the next step is. The only time you're going to want to ignore that advice is if you have a scarcity mentality and you're afraid that if you lose this woman, you're never going to get another one. And if that's the case, call us up, we'll come out, we'll teach you how to cold approach, warm approach, everything, get that sort of thing handled. But if you have an abundance mentality, if you realize, hey, if not this woman, there will be another one, then we don't have to be afraid of trying to scare this person off. If we succeed in scaring her off, then it wasn't meant to be in the first place. And if we tell her all the things that have scared other women off in the past, or that we think, that we have, shame or problems around, and she still stays there, well, ding, 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 you just won the lottery. Great, you found your person, or at least for whatever your purposes are. So that's why we want to get this stuff out in front. And a lot of other coaches are going to tell you not to do that. I completely disagree. So here we are, and we've decided what we want to talk about. Now, this is something you do before the date. You think about yourself, you look at your past experiences, and you say, okay, what in the past has thrown people off? What has come back to bite me in the ass when I haven't mentioned it before? What do I need to put in what I call my disclaimer, the stuff that we put up front? So for me, and some of this stuff is going to sound weird because I began this disclaimer, many years ago. It was a different time, but at the start, I used to tell people, hey, I'm super passionate and I spend a lot of time doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Now, why did I tell people that? Well, I had an ex-wife who really had a problem with it. She had a big problem with combat sports. It wouldn't have mattered if it was jiu-jitsu, boxing, kickboxing, anything like that. She just had a problem with combat sports. I didn't realize that was going to be as big of an issue as it was. So in my relationships going forward, I always double check now. Hey, do you have a problem with combat sports? If I said I was passionate about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, is that an issue? Also for me, there's certain legal and other kinds of drugs that I like to do. Healing plants, you might say. Not everybody is a fan of those. That's totally fine, but that's the kind of thing we want to get out up front. Of course, don't go, you don't have to reveal your dramatic history with drug addiction on your very first date. You might want to, especially if that's been the kind of thing that has come back to bite you on subsequent dates. Like, it's definitely something you're going to have to bring up early. But we don't, like I said, we want to be authentic, but we don't have to reveal all of our deep, dark secrets. We can get the point across without having to get to the specifics, right? So, like, instead of saying, oh, I had an issue with drug abuse, you can say, yeah, I had some issues with overindulging in the past. You can leave it vague like that. I mean, on subsequent dates, you're going to want to flesh that out. And if she's smart, she's going to hear that and want a little bit more information in the future. But first date, just the broad issue is, hey, I'm a person that has that kind of baggage. Are you cool with that? What else do I say? So I talk about, my work. I talk about drugs. I talk about I'm non-monogamous, so I'm looking for an alternative relationship style. All of this information about me comes out in the first hour of the first date. Why? Because time is my most precious commodity and I really don't have much to waste. There's no point in us sitting there having this 4-hour conversation and then at the end, when she says like, okay, great, so, we'll do this, and she starts talking about exclusivity or whatever, and then I say, oh, no, I'm looking for something casual. 4 hours into the date is not the point for that. At that point, you've wasted each other's time. You want to bring that at the beginning. If a woman finds out some of these deal breakers later on, too late in the thing, she has the right to be angry at you. She has the right to be upset because you've wasted her time. You were sitting on information that if you had told her early would have changed the whole outcome of the scenario. That's manipulation. That's not fair to people. So we want to say that stuff up front. And even if there's even if it is a mismatch, even if you find that you guys aren't compatible, she'll thank you for doing what you did. She'll respect you for doing what you did. Only then, when there's mutual respect, can you hope to have anything like a friendship, or for her to say refer you to one of her friends, or anything like that. Any woman who isn't happy that you actively tried to save her time and things like that, she's probably inexperienced. She's probably not had too much experience with a situation where a man sits on that information and then disappoints her later. She's just focusing on the present disappointment and not thinking of all of the drama that she avoided, that you're helping her avoid. If that's the case, no need to respond, no need to no need to escalate the situation. Just, consider that a dodged bullet. Consider it that her level of maturity wasn't high enough for you and would have caused drama in the future. That's what to talk about. That's when to talk about it. Anything you think might put someone off, and in the first hour of the date. Now, how do we actually say it? So this is where your friends come in. This is where your coaches come in. This is where, if you're part of our private members academy, that's a great use for the academy. Basically, you formulate how you're going to say something, and then you try bouncing it off a few people. I would suggest asking guy friends, asking girlfriends, asking your coaches. If you're in our academy, make use of us. And try it out on a variety of people, especially if it's a really, prickly subject. So, I mean, we've had guys that are, they're 30-year-old virgins, or guys that have lost their license due to a DUI, or people that did have an issue with, say, going to juvenile detention in high school or something like that. How to phrase that to people in a way that that puts you not so much in the best light. We do want to be vulnerable and authentic, and if it's a bad look, it's a bad look. But we want to frame it in such a way to show in the best way that we can, right? So if I had gone to juvie as a teenager and now I'm dating in my 20s, I might want to say something like, yeah, well, in high school I had some trouble, I had some issues, some behavioral issues, some issues with the law. In the end, it turned out to be the best thing for me because I learned a lot from it, and now here I am having corrected my mistakes, and I'm a better person for it. But yeah, you might want to be aware of that, right? So that's taking something, not hiding it, owning it, definitely owning it, but also putting it out there, being authentic, being upfront about it. And that's just one example. I would say get the opinions of both women and men, because men will give you like the more abrupt, direct way of saying things. They'll help you shorten whatever it is you're trying to say, and women will help you soften it and show you how to use maybe words that have more positive connotations than the one that you're trying to use. I'll give you my non-monogamy example. The worst way of saying something would be, I'm non-monogamous and you have to be okay with that if you want to date me. That's, obviously that's not very inviting. If somebody said, if you said that to me, I'm already non-monogamous, and I'm going to say, well, I don't want to date you with that attitude, right? Fuck that. So how do we do that? Well, I found that the word enriching is a very good word to use whenever you're explaining something that other people have trouble relating to. So in this case, you can say, well, I just want to let you know up front that my lifestyle is non-monogamous. That means I'm never going to be anybody's exclusive boyfriend. If I'm dating you or spending time with you, or even if I have the title of boyfriend, it means that the both of us can date and sleep with whoever else we want. Now, of course, we can have our boundaries around that. We can have discussions and guidelines, and we're not trying to make anyone feel uncomfortable here, but that is the way that I live my life. Do you have any questions about that? Right? So with that, we're putting it out there, we're being authentic, and we're inviting the person in. We're inviting them to ask us questions and to have a dialogue. Once we're establishing this dialogue, now we can start to see each other as people and see each other as multidimensional, more than three-dimensional beings, and start to appreciate one another. If there's no appreciation, then you have a lack of compatibility, and you need to know that up front so you can move on. All right, guys, well, that's my advice today on how to have a more effective date, how to bring up potentially negative topics in history about yourself and use that to establish a good sense of how compatible you are with the person. Remember, quote-unquote bad things about yourself or your history or your flaws, these don't have to be deal breakers, and trying to hide them from people, that's what turns folks off. It's not the problem itself, it's that you lied about it or tried to hide it or something like that that really bothers people. So, have the confidence to admit these things as long as you're doing it in the right way and at the right time. Hey there, Infinite Men. This is Mike Doretto coming at you to let you know I will be speaking at the Infinite Man Summit in Lisbon, Portugal, July 13th through the 15th. I'll be there talking about ethical non-monogamy, as well as answering your individual questions in between all the speakers all weekend long. This is a super powerful event. This is a life-changing event. Of course, all of our summits are powerful and life-changing, but just at the very last one, we've had so many guys, an outpouring of love, telling us about the changes they've made in their personal lives, in their careers, their professionals. We've had guys quit jobs, get new jobs, rekindle relationships with family members they didn't speak to for 13 years. I myself had a personal breakthrough when it came to fighting my own demons with worry and career. And that breakthrough still affects me in a positive way every single day of my life since the event. I cannot wait to see what kind of stuff happens this year with you guys. So head on over to infinitemansummit.com. Now pay attention, this is important. Ticket prices increase every 25 tickets. So get your tickets as soon as possible to get the best discount. So I hear you say to me, Mike, What if I want more FaceTime with the coaches? What if I want to meet Sasha? What if I want to meet Pete? What if I want to sit down and have dinner with these folks? Well, that's what the VIP ticket is for. VIP ticket includes 2 meals with the speakers, as well as front row seating and a digital copy of the event so you can rewatch your favorite parts later. Once again, guys, those dates are July 13th through the 15th in Lisbon, Portugal. Get your tickets now. Go to infinitemansummit.com or click the link below, and I hope to see you there.